Thanks for coming to the survivorship lecture series for April. Today we have a special organization talking to us. We have talked in a previous session about support for cancer patients from community organizations. And today we have a national organization, Unite for Her, and we have two speakers today. Nina Ritrovato, MPH, went from volunteer at Unite for Her to senior wellness program manager in 2019, which fit with her concentration in integrative health. She identifies and establishes hospital and nonprofit partnerships across the US to help refer those diagnosed with breast or ovarian cancer to wellness programs at Unite for Her. She also helps members navigate through the programs by assisting them in gaining access to services and connecting them to additional resources. Our second speaker will be Erin Pelligrin, RD, LDN, who has been Unite for Her's Director of Culinary Nutrition and Education since 2018. Before that, she was a contributing dietitian at Unite for Her for 5 years with a background in oncology nutrition. As part of the culinary nutrition team, she shares their nutrition mission and the philosophy by educating and counseling breast and ovarian cancer patients through treatment and beyond as part of their wellness program. So both of these women work very closely together at Unite for Her with a mission to empower and restore cancer survivors. So today we get to hear all about their organization. So Nina, go ahead and get started when you're ready.
Thank you so much. So, yes, my name is Nina. I'm one of the senior wellness program managers at Unite for Her. And as I mentioned previously, I'll spend just a little bit of time going through our program and services, and it may help to better understand the different types of support that we offer, what our intentions are, who we are prioritizing, a little bit about our background, and then I'll pass it along to Erin, who will dive into our nutrition mission and share some more information. So, if I am able to, I would like to share my screen and I can go through one of our slide decks and share again just a little bit about the background of Unite for Her.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Wonderful. Okay. So this is one of our members, Crystal. She's holding one of the care boxes that we ship out. Some of you on the call, I may have shipped out care boxes too. This is a really amazing gift that we share. We're really intentional about the products that we put into it, and we can go into those just in a little bit of detail a little bit later. So, Unite for Her really is all about bridging the gap between the medical community and wellness. So, we always speak about the hospitals and medical teams treating the cancer, and we treat the person and support them through their treatments and even beyond. For those that are living with metastatic breast or recurrent ovarian, we never leave their side, meaning that the services that we offer them will renew once every 6 months for them. So, understanding that they will be in treatment for the rest of their lives, we want to be able to offer that continued support to them. The HER in Unite for Her is an acronym for helping to empower and restore. Brief history here. Our founder, Sue Weldon, was diagnosed in 2004 with breast cancer. So this year is her 20th year of survivorship. And she created Unite for Her all because of her experience with going through side effects and seeking out different integrative therapies and really utilizing whole food nutrition to support herself after her treatments were done. So in 2009, Unite for Her was established. We were operating in and around the Philadelphia area. And actually, through COVID, we had the opportunity to expand our services nationwide. And last fiscal year, we supported just over 5,300 members through our program. Who we serve, we support those diagnosed with breast and ovarian cancer, metastatic breast, recurrent ovarian. We do support men diagnosed with breast cancer. We are able to fully support the Latina community. We have a registered dietitian who is also our Spanish liaison. So she supports our Latina community. We have materials and care boxes that are translated into Spanish, as well as Spanish providers. We like to sprinkle in some data points throughout this deck so you can read them as we go through. And a little bit later, I'll direct your attention to a poster that we were able to present 2 years ago at SABCS, where we surveyed a group of metastatic women in our program, and it's a pretty impactful poster that we were able to present. This is one of our metastatic breast cancer patients, Lakia, again, holding the care box that we shipped out. And these are three of the programs that we offer. The Wellness Passport program is the one that we are most known for. Qualifications for this specific program are a diagnosis within the last 18 months for stages 1 through 3 breast and ovarian cancer. This is available nationwide. Also, again, it's available in Spanish. Stage 0 patients do not qualify for this program. And we'll go into our prioritized funding a little bit later, but that does play a part in qualifications for this passport program. The Extended Wellness Passport program that you see to the right of that is available for our members living with metastatic and recurrent ovarian cancer. Again, that is ongoing support. So that's why it's called extended. We renew their services every 6 months. And then finally, to the right, you will see our Empowered Living program, which was created the beginning of this fiscal year in an attempt to offer additional support to those that we could not support through our passport program financially and through our budget. So the Empowered Living program was a way for us to offer access to our community, all of the education and online resources that we offer while still controlling our budget. So if someone doesn't immediately qualify for the passport program, they're offered the Empowered Living program. If they've been diagnosed outside of 18 months, they would be offered the Empowered Living program. And also if they are stage 0, this is the program that they would be given. The only difference, again, for the Wellness Passport program, that diagnosis within the last 18 months is for stage 1 through 3. Your metastatic breast and recurrent ovarian cancer patients could have been diagnosed at any time and they would still qualify for the passport program. So this just gives you an idea. Our members always send us testimonials. They take pictures of themselves with the boxes. We love to see this. The pieces in the boxes that are staple items that we include in every single box include this amazing cancer fighting kitchen cookbook, which Erin can touch on a little bit more. It's a very powerful cookbook where the first 40 pages really talk about the properties of our whole foods and the benefits to cancer patients specifically, but really anybody. And then, of course, they have amazing recipes in there. We do some healthy beauty education on the ingredients that go into our beauty products. So we start our members off with 3 full-size organic beauty products from Acure. We have an inspirational book written by our beauty advisor called Ignite Your Light. We include a healing salve made from calendula from one of our local CSA partners. This does really great with radiation burns specifically, but it's just like a Neosporin. We have a loose healing tea, a Unite for Her mug, a beauty bag, a silk pillowcase, organic lubricant, and then the other items that go into there vary based upon the supplies that we have available in the office. We do a ton of online education, which Erin is the manager of as well. One of the things that we do is we offer wellness conferences. It's an introduction into the program. We've cut it down to an hour where we really give the members of our program a better idea of how to access the services. We touch on the integrative therapies that are available and how they could help mitigate side effects. And then one of our registered dietitians, of course, goes into our nutrition mission and how to access our nutrition services. You'll see this woman here on the left holding a card. This is what we call the passport. So all of the members of the passport program are given this card. The value of the services is about $2,000 worth of treatments, education, and services that we offer. And here is a list of the services that we offer. The 2 I would like to draw your attention to first are those that actually aren't available nationwide, and those would be acupuncture and oncology massage. We don't have the ability to put boots on the ground across the nation yet, but what we do offer for integrative therapies is yoga, meditation, Reiki, and professional counseling. We do have counselors licensed in all the states across the US. We do have a list of providers that we've put together so the members of our program don't have to go find a counselor or go find a Reiki provider. They're able to do that through our provider list. These services are all delivered virtually, so they can join these sessions from the comfort of their home. They are done one-on-one, so it's not group yoga classes or group counseling classes, although we do offer that as an alternative. We offer a large nutrition program, which again, Erin will go into, but those include nutrition consultations with one of our 4 registered dietitians on staff. They do 48 cooking webinars a year. They change their menus and recipes every 2 months. We offer gift cards to the grocery store for $75 each. It's probably one of our more popular nutrition services available. We also partner with Sunbasket, which is similar to HelloFresh or Blue Apron, if you're familiar with those. It's a meal delivery service in which our members can receive 6 meals delivered right to their home. So it's 3 meals, 2 servings each. So we say it's about 6 dinners. And lastly, we partner with an organization called FarmBox. So our members can participate in receiving 6 consecutive weeks of fresh vegetables delivered right to their home as well. And then lastly, we offer a virtual fitness option with an organization called Stronger Through Cancer. They offer both live and recorded classes. They have about 2 to 300 recorded classes, and they have a calendar of live events available as well. And we will cover the cost of a 6-month membership to Stronger Through Cancer. There is Erin, who we have with us today, cooking right from her kitchen. This is what our cooking webinars look like. And then to give you an idea of the educational series that we do, to the right, you'll see some of the topics that we touch on, but we cover different things all across the board that pertain to the members of our community, whether it be the link between alcohol and breast cancer, clinical trials, medical marijuana, sexual health. We cover them through our speaker series, Ask the Experts, and virtual hangouts. We always look to our hospital partners to help us in these presentations and speak on these topics that we are not trained on and cannot speak to. So, for the members that are joining us today, I would welcome if you have ideas, topics, suggestions, something that you feel passionate about that you would like to speak on, you can connect with Erin on that for our educational series as well. Touching on our prioritized funding, which does play a very important part in our programming, we are prioritizing communities of color and those that are in underserved zip codes. And really, what that means is that our funding has been set aside to help support these two groups. When someone applies to the program, we have a screening process essentially that we go to week, and we look through each application to determine which program they would qualify for. So, our people of color are going to be given the passport program because that funding is set aside specifically for them. And then next, we would take a look at those that are underserved, and those would get the next prioritization into the passport program. Week to week, those that don't qualify for the passport program, again, are given that empowered living program. Any questions about that at all, just let me know. We do have a list of zip codes. So in the past, I've sent our hospital partners that list so that they can take a look. But of course, there are always outliers or exceptions to that. If you have a Caucasian patient who doesn't necessarily live in an underserved zip code, but nonetheless is really struggling financially or emotionally and mentally with this diagnosis, we rely on our hospital partners to help us identify those individuals, and we will absolutely make exceptions for those and let them into the passport program as well. I will let Erin cover this part, food is medicine, but this is touching again on the services that we are offering for nutrition. This is a really nice image and graphic to show you the usage of our nutrition services and what is the most popular. So you can see our CSA, our farm box vegetables, is taking up the most space here, very popular as our gift cards. And another great piece where we have all of the pictures of our members sending us their pictures constantly. We love to receive them. Our digital education series, which we touched on. We are really focused again on partnering with our nonprofit organizations, 340B hospitals, and underserved zip codes. Of course, here's just a touch on some of the partnerships that we've formed. And this is the poster, although very small. You can see on our website, uniteforher.org/SABCS, on the results from the surveys that we did of the members in our program living with metastatic breast cancer. One of the data points on here that I find the most impressive is that an average of 27% of those that we surveyed reported being able to reduce by at least one prescription or over-the-counter medication through the use of our services. In addition to that, something that might perk your ears up a little bit is that our services are able to support the patients in a way that they are better able to respond to their treatments and also adhere to their treatment schedules better as well. So the partnership and working in conjunction with our hospital partners, we support the patient in a different way than you, but the partnership is just so powerful in that way. And then another list of our recruiting partners. This is quite small in comparison to what it actually is right now. Nationwide, we have over 90 different hospital and nonprofit partnerships that we're very proud of. Locally in and around the Philadelphia area, we have an additional 30. Obviously, since we started in this area, we're quite saturated here, but always looking to expand and grow, again, prioritizing those two groups that we support. I'm going to stop share and reshare so I can show you the passport. My screen doesn't like when I switch in the middle. There we go. This is our national passport. This is what gives our members access to the services. So when they get that beautiful care box, this passport's going to be in it. You can see there's 6 squares down the right-hand side. The services that you're looking at on the inside here can be redeemed through using the squares, just so you can get an understanding of how those services work. Each of our integrative therapies are a 1-for-1. One session uses 1 square. If they scheduled a counseling session to use 1 square, they would have 5 squares remaining. The gift card and Sunbasket meals each use 1 square. Farm Box uses 3 squares for those 6 consecutive weeks of vegetables. And then that virtual fitness membership uses 3 squares for 6-month membership. And we always encourage our members to choose. This gives them the power of choice, which services they would feel most supported by. So for example, if they're really struggling with this diagnosis and they could use the support of a counselor, they could get up to 6 counseling sessions covered by Unite for Her. If they want to try out a week's worth of Sunbasket meals and they want to try out a yoga session and then maybe a Reiki session, they can mix and match the services as well. And then on the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see passport expiration date for our stage 1 through 3 members. This expiration date will be within a year of them receiving the passport. And once again, for metastatic breast and recurrent ovarian, this will read passport renewal date, and it will be within 6 months of them receiving this passport in which they can renew the services. And then, of course, on the back, we have services that they don't have to utilize their squares for. These are available to them ongoing. So even when they're done their 6 squares on the inside, or after their passport has expired, they can continue to participate in any of these online educational events that we do, including the cooking webinars and all of our speaker series, Ask the Experts, and virtual hangouts as well. For qualifications beyond that, we don't ask for any additional information from the members. We don't ask for their medical records, their income information, documentation, insurance information, none of that. It's truly the honor system. So when they register and apply, we do ask for the diagnosis date, and it is the honor system. So whatever they share with us, we go by. The application process is pretty simple and quick. And the easiest way to do it, or I should say the most efficient way to do it, is to do so online. We do have recruitment flyers that we provide our partners that has all of the information, including a link to register. But of course, we recognize that not everybody has access to technology, and so we have paper applications as well. We also have a place on our website where you can request information, and it will send an inquiry to my colleague Kristen via email, and she will respond with the instructions on how to register. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty easy to get through. And we do really rely on our partnerships to help identify those that qualify. And that's why these relationships are so very important to us. So I will pause and ask if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Nina. This was wonderful. It's so great to hear all of this again, and this is such a great service. I want to find ways to integrate this in here at UI Health and making sure, just ensure our patients know about this and have access to it. One of my questions was, have you offered acupuncture services or a passport to those services at all?
So for our local program, again, around the Philadelphia area, yes, acupuncture and oncology massage are both available.
Okay, but not outside of the local. Okay.
No.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'll just second what Dr. Ganshaw said. We definitely want to partner with you all so that we can bring more services to our patients. These wraparound services are absolutely fantastic and definitely a special place in my heart for integrative therapies. So any way we can help and be involved and find partners around the Chicagoland area too.
Thank you. All right, well, if no other questions at this time, I will pass it along to my colleague Erin for the nutrition portion.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I will go through and share. Let's see if we can. I want to share my screen. So I will take us through a little bit about our nutrition mission and how we approach our nutrition program, and then all of the different education offerings that we have. Let me just share my screen. Okay, does that look okay to everyone?
I can't see it actually.
Of course. Technology is such that. All right, let's do this.
While you're pulling that up, Nina, do you have data, maybe it's in your poster, on demographics of the patients, the populations that you've served?
That poster is specifically, I believe it's either 137 or 139 metastatic breast cancer patients. Are you looking for those demographics or just our overall program?
Either, I think, would be.
I can speak to this current fiscal year where we are for new members. Now, remember, our total number could be metastatic and recurrent ovarian that have been in the program. So
Sure.
speaking this fiscal year, our program is currently at 58% women of color and those that are underserved.
Right. Thank you. We really are reaching hard to reach population. So thank you.
Yep. Erin, I can see it now.
Okay, wonderful. And actually, you can disregard Aubrey. She's one of my colleagues. But my name is Erin Pelligrin, and I'm our Director of Culinary Nutrition at Unite for Her. I have been with our program for going on 10 years. And it's been really wonderful and truly such an honor to be able to see the development and the evolution of our program, the growth of our team, as we've been able to also connect with cancer centers around the country. So I'm really pleased to be able to share this with you. So to get us started, like Nina said, I just want to share a little bit about our nutrition philosophy as a whole, and the approach that we take as we educate and as we work with our members. So it's really centered around two main points. So number one, we really take a plant-centered, a plant-forward approach to nutrition. And I think that this is pretty consistent with national guidelines as well. It certainly doesn't mean that we advocate for everyone being vegan or vegetarian, but really sharing the importance of making our plant foods a mainstay in meals and snacks. And so while this is a very broad approach to nutrition and wellness, we ensure our members that this can be applied uniquely no matter where you are and where you come from. And we take pride in building that connection and that trust with those with whom we work, and finding unique ways so that our members can take steps to really support their overall health, their survivorship, in a way that feels good to them and is unique to their situation. But again, we know the importance of plant foods. And so we really try to take that approach versus a lot of times when we connect with our members, one of the things we hear, one of the initial questions that comes out of their mouth is, what do I have to stop eating? What do I have to throw out? What should I no longer have? And to us, we're really missing the important piece of that, which is, let's talk about what we need to have some more of. And starting there feels a little less restrictive, feels a little less negative. So we really take that choosing abundance sort of approach to our nutrition education. And then in addition to that, we really take a whole foods approach. So really teaching about, just reaching less for highly processed, highly refined foods. Again, really in line with national guidelines, but, just choosing how our members can start with one or two choices, one or two things they're always picking up at the grocery store, but how they can make a slight upgrade still within their food grocery budget, but really just upgrading the quality of some of the foods that they're buying so that it's just a more wholesome, high quality, high fiber, more nutrient dense choice. We do take a food first approach. So supplements and vitamins and minerals come up quite a bit. So while there is certainly certain situations and a place for some of those nutrients, we really try to advocate for getting most of our nutrients from our food first, and then seeing where some of these supplements may have an appropriate role, but of course, always in communication with their medical team. So we know, we take pride in our nutrition program because I'm sure, as all of you are aware, it plays a big role in just an overall patient's quality of life. When a person can really improve their overall nutrition, it can just help them feel better. It helps with their overall strength and energy, right? Which allows them to better tolerate treatment, stay on treatment, helps them maintain their weight or get towards a healthy weight. We know the impact that steady unintentional weight loss can have on overall treatment tolerance, risk of infection, and so on. So, good nutrition can help maintain that. Again, looking at those nutrient stores, understanding that supplementation may be appropriate during certain times, but really making sure, how can we focus on those from a food first perspective? Like I said, better tolerating treatment, lowering risk of overall infection. We know, good nutrition can lend itself to improved healing, a faster recovery, and then just overall improved health and well-being. And we know that our members, and in my experience working in the clinical space, patients are really looking for that area of control they can have for their health, and food is typically where they begin, although it can also be overwhelming on where to start. So we really try to work with our members to give them some direction, to bring them some control back in their life in a really approachable way. And so a lot of times, our members will be like, okay, I want to dive into this. I want to make some changes or some shifts that will really serve them, but I don't know where to start because they're being inundated with information from others, from support groups, from what they're reading. So some of the ways that, we sort of say, all right, well, here's where you can start. I always say, eat what you enjoy. One of my pretty consistent messages is there is not a food out there that any person needs to plug their nose and choke back for the sake of health. There are always other foods available that someone can enjoy that will bring nutrition into their day. So let's find out what they are. We talk a little bit about meal planning that can look differently for each person, but we can definitely help our members approach meal planning in a way that isn't overwhelming or will zap all of their energy, but really does allow them to be set up for success. Getting back in the kitchen, we really try to take a culinary education approach on how our members can create healthy foods in their own home. They don't have to be chefs. They don't have to be experienced culinary experts, but even those that are most intimidated by working through a recipe or preparing something can really create delicious, healthy meals. And we do that through a variety of ways, which I will get to in just a moment. And then, helping our members set goals. So again, I always say, like, our community are very motivated, and they often come to us with a host of information already and ideas of what they want to change, but we want to set them up for success. And so we sort of pare back, okay, let's start with working on one thing at a time. They have lots of other things to think about. They've got appointments or treatments or just family and life. So we want them to not feel like this is an added burden in their day or in their set of to-do lists, but this is a way that they can feel successful, they can feel empowered, and be motivated to continue moving forward. Now, the types of nutrition services that our members have access to. So Nina did a wonderful job explaining what they look like. So I'll just briefly go over. So nutrition counseling, which I will get into a little bit more in just a moment, is a service that is available to both our passport holders and those in our Empowered Living program. We love these conversations because this allows us to really start to connect with our members and find out what sort of supportive role we can play in their life. Virtual cooking classes, also part of that all access pass, that are free to our passport holders and those in our Empowered Living program, as well as the general public. So just about every week, we're offering a virtual cooking class, and we encourage members to hop on. We make simple recipes. We really try to show that anyone can create healthy food in their home. You don't need a 50 ingredient list recipe in order to prepare something healthy. And, that common phrase that sometimes we heard, healthy food doesn't taste good. I am the first person to defend against that statement, that it really can taste delicious. And let's talk about how we can add some wonderful spice and flavor to those meals. Gift card for healthy groceries is a very popular option. It is a way for us to help our members bring food into the home. We know the financial burden from a cancer diagnosis, financial toxicity is a term that often comes up. So this is our way to be just a little bit of a support to take the weight off of their shoulders, so they can bring healthy food into their home, or at least be able to just to support that basic need. FarmBox RX is our national vegetable delivery program that we partner with. They're a wonderful service, and they allow our members to be introduced to seasonal vegetables. It's delivered right to their home. It's a great amount of food, and so it's an opportunity just to learn about different types of produce, experiment a little bit with preparation methods, but we always say our door is open. So as you get your vegetables, there will likely be something in there that you don't know what it is, or it looks like a table decoration, and that's okay. Let us know. We can give you some recipes and show you how you can work with it. So we really try to take the intimidation off of food and nutrition and cooking in general. And then Sunbasket Meal Delivery is a wonderful national program as well, that sends meals to the home. We offer 3 pre-selected Sunbasket meals each week, and they are a combination of meals that are already prepared and require some reheating, as well as those just require some minor assembly. We are very well aware that our members are often struggling with energy, fatigue, neuropathy. So using hands, standing on their feet for a long time is something that is just unrealistic. So the meals that do require assembly typically are 30 minutes or less. So we're not trying to drain all of their precious energy, but again, giving them the empowerment to create something delicious and healthy in their home. So as we've mentioned several times, we are really, really big on education, especially on nutrition education. And we really pride ourselves in the different offerings that we have. So first, our nutrition consults. So we can connect with members on a variety of things. And oftentimes that conversation will evolve with our relationship with that member. So if we're connecting with them during treatment and our conversation is centered primarily around treatment management, side effects, and all of the wonderful things that come along with that, as we stay in touch and as they move forward, that will evolve into, my appetite is better. I want to focus a little bit more on incorporating, different types of fruits and vegetables, or I want to try different recipes with beans or lentils. And so this conversation can encompass a lot of different things. Healthy eating, of course, like I mentioned, side effect management, where to start. Food and nutrition is often an area where, again, members are inundated with information. It can feel overwhelming. Certainly food safety. We always advocate for food safety, whether they're in treatment or not. We're always looking to help them reduce risk of foodborne illness. So we make sure to cover that as well. Overall goal setting, again, one step at a time.
Hi, I'm in class. I know you're working.
Hello. Labs and diet adjustments. So if our members come to us saying that they're anemic, their iron is low, their potassium, some of their electrolytes are low, let's talk about how we can make adjustments in the diet and increase some of those food choices to really support those. Recipes and meal prep, that is a mainstay in what we offer. Myth busting. So this is something that comes up a lot because there is also so much, unfortunately, misinformation that can be shared. So we like to provide trusted resources and information so that members can make the best nutrition decisions for themselves. And what you're seeing here on the left are just some of the nutrition information that we have put together, and we are continuing to build our education library. So we recently just launched our guide to side effect management, which is a PDF, an all-encompassing PDF that we can offer that talks about side effects that could affect a person from top to bottom. So we worked really hard to put together national guidelines and information, as well as additional resources outside of that to provide to members that need it. We also have a lot of lists, so easy access education points. You're seeing 2 of them here, so that members say, I want to support my health, but I'm not really sure where I'm getting my calcium or vitamin D. Great, we've got a piece of information for you. So this is an ever-growing education forum and that we know is needed and appreciated and will continue to build on. Moving on, so just some of the other ways that we connect and educate with our community. So we have a food for thought library. So at the beginning of every virtual cooking class, we pull out one of our ingredients and we highlight the nutritional value of them. It could be a spice, it could be a vegetable, it could be a seed, it could be an herb, it could be anything. And what we have learned is that our members really want to know why these healthful ingredients are so important to be part of their everyday and what nutritional value do they bring. But it also allows them to feel good about making these small adjustments. So even, adding something like an additional spoonful of seeds to your smoothie or to your yogurt, although it feels like a small shift, it can make a big impact, and here are the reasons why. So our members love that we record all of these food for thought moments, and then members can jump back in and do a little bit of learning when they're ready. We also have Plantuary. So this is an initiative that we started 3 years ago. Every January, instead of taking that New Year's Eve resolution, we are calling it Plantuary. So it is our month to help our members eat more plants. And we have educational segments with experts. Most recently, we did an Ask the Experts with the lead dietitian from the American Institute of Cancer Research. She was phenomenal. She went through a lot of the research and science that we know about the importance of plants and answered a lot of questions from our members. So that was just one example. We often do virtual cooking classes with our entire culinary team. So lots of engagement, lots of recipe sharing, lots of social outreach, but it is a wonderful time and a great time of year to get our members when they're thinking about, maybe setting that first step forward to incorporate more plants. We also created, again, a Back to Basics video library. So this was an inspiration actually from one of our metastatic members. I was on the phone with her. We were talking about preparing some of the vegetables that she was getting in her local vegetable box. And she said to me, I don't understand what you mean when you say roast. I didn't grow up in a household that roasted anything, so I'm not sure what that means. And I said, wow, that's a great question. And she said, you should really start like a Back to Basics library on these simple, approachable sort of culinary skills to empower people to get back in the kitchen. And that is exactly what we did. So we take really just sort of basic kitchen skills and quick videos that members can hop on and learn how to do. We even go over basic knife skills, proper storage, how different knives are used. And as you can see here, and as Nina mentioned, we also are building that library in Spanish. So Catherine Romero is our bilingual culinary dietitian, and she is building the outreach and the entire program for our Hispanic community, and has lots of those same videos in Spanish as well. So we are really trying to connect with our members from all angles. And then finally, one of the segments that we most recently created as well was a segment we called Potty Talk. So this was sort of based off of Verzenio. As we know, comes along with a plethora of GI issues, most commonly diarrhea. And we were finding that we were having a lot of conversations around the management of those GI side effects. And in connecting with Lily, we decided to put together this whole educational segment around the management of GI side effects from various treatments. So we did cover, upper GI, lower GI, and all of the side effects that come along with it. And we took it from a nutrition perspective. And then we also had a mental health expert is there as well, just sort of talk about how emotions and stress, anxiety, depression can show up in the GI tract and how we can also utilize those outlets to perhaps soothe or be part of that plan to soothe some of those symptoms. So we've recorded all of those segments also on our video library. We also did that in Spanish as well. And we find that to be really helpful for our members. And then finally, this is our culinary dietitian team. One thing I do want to call out again is our monthly education segments that I lead. So we have a variety of different approaches that we take to our monthly segments covering a variety of topics. So for instance, this afternoon, I'm hosting an Ask the Experts on oral care and cancer with a dental hygienist that also runs a connected nonprofit. And we're just answering common questions and taking questions from our community about the importance of oral care and how to manage that. But we have expert panels that come on. We have virtual hangouts, which are a little bit more casual, but still information forward. All of those are recorded and we keep them in our video library. So as Nina said, we're always looking for new topics. We're always looking on what is of interest to our community, what is new in the oncology space, new research that has come out. So that is always a monthly, ever-growing and evolving program that we find our community, really appreciates. All of those are also open to the public. So I always say, listen, any of these that may be applicable to someone that you know, a family or friend or neighbor, please share. They can hop on with us live, or they can always go back and watch that video afterwards. And then the other piece that I wanted to point out as well, just sort of lending to the importance of nutrition support and education, we also presented a poster this year at SABCS in support with the cancer support community. I also just presented it with a staff member from CSC this weekend at the Oncology Nutrition Symposium in Atlanta. And it talked about and presented their research on the impact that having access to nutrition education and support, how that can have an impact on a breast cancer patient's overall quality of life. And what we found was statistical significance in anxiety, depression, and physical functioning. So we know that the importance is there. I'm sure you know the importance is there. We value the connection that we have with our clinical partners and cancer centers so that we can certainly work together to better serve the patient. So with that, I will stop sharing my screen and take any questions that any of you may have.
Wow, thank you guys so much. This is just such an impressive resource to cancer patients. I just had one quick question. I'll pass it off to everybody. I know your resources are specifically for breast and ovarian cancer patients. Have you branched into it pre-membership at all, into those at risk and changing their lifestyle to help them prevent the onset of cancer and take care of themselves?
We haven't branched specifically into that population of patient. We really do, because primarily who we're serving are those that have a diagnosis already. However, the information that we share really can be appropriate for the pre-viver, even for other cancer diagnoses. So especially the nutrition information, the side effect guide that we put together. I mean, we're like, share that with others, whether they have a lung cancer or, a bone cancer. There's so much crossover, especially with side effects. So we know that it can be applicable in other realms. We just haven't taken that specific approach and outreach. However, when we talk with our members, if there is a genetic mutation and there's a family involvement, in our nutrition consults, we always welcome family. We welcome support people. We welcome caregivers. Anyone else that's interested that may have questions, everyone is welcome to hop on to be part of that conversation. So we definitely don't have any boundaries in terms of who, we're able to connect with.
Great. Well, I want these resources. Who had something to, Nina, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to jump in and say, I think, and Erin could probably speak to this more than I could, but many people don't expect to receive a cancer diagnosis. And so when they are diagnosed, they want to learn what they can do to not have that happen again. And so while we may not be reaching them prior to diagnosis, the education that we offer and the support that we offer hopefully will decrease their chance of a recurrence, for example, or a different form of cancer.
Absolutely. And it's one of the reasons why our nutrition consults are something that is a free access to all of our members forever and ever. And we really encourage them to reach out and connect with us, even if it's years down the line. Listen, if you have a question, if something came out please reach out to us. Let's set some time aside. Let's chat through it. So we want to make sure that our members always feel supported, even if it is well into that sort of post-treatment phase, and their mindset has really shifted to reducing risk of recurrence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, let me pass it to anyone else. I'm sure people have questions. I'm sure Dr. Ganshaw has a bunch of questions to ask you guys. Go right ahead. Whoever wants to ask a question, unmute. Dr. Ganshaw doesn't have any.
I will keep asking. I wanted to give others a chance.
Yeah, right.
I guess I have a couple questions. Have you guys worked at all with food pantries that sometimes like cancer patients show up at to sort of partner with them to help bring access to your program to those patients?
Nina, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I was going to say, I can say from my perspective, as far as partnerships, that's not one that we've taken a look at yet, but that's certainly a great idea. I think we look at it from a different perspective, and maybe we need to shift it. We think we're reaching them through our food, but maybe we need to go to their source of food to be able to reach them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
And
idea.
we're definitely open to that. And really it just comes from a supporting each other's mission. So, connecting with members that are part of food pantries, I think just making sure that we have that resource sharing that's available. So we can say, hey, we're giving you this gift card for groceries, but you also have these areas or these food pantries or these resources in your area that you can also tap into as well. So like Nina said, it hasn't been something that we've directly sought out, but we're always looking for just knowing what's out there and being able to share more resources. We have a very full resources page in our and continuing to grow on our Unite for Her website, because we want to be able to pass that along to our members so that they know what else is available to them.
Great. I have a couple other questions, but I'm gonna stop for a minute and let others ask and give people a chance to unmute.
Anyone else have a question? Unmute. I know Dr. Ganshaw and I could go all day. Do you guys have any videos on like mindset for your patients? Because there's a lot of things that kind of are barriers to patients implementing these nutrition and fitness lifestyle changes. So things like topics like limiting beliefs or time management or self-sabotage, things like that may be also useful for your patients.
I know those topics come up and are sort of built into a lot of the topics that we've already covered and are looking to cover. So from a nutrition standpoint, that's something that we handle all the time when we connect and have consults with our members. We try to lean into things like our culinary classes to talk about sort of how, shifts and changes in mindset can be sort of looked at from another perspective to really make it work from them. From just an emotional and a mental health perspective, this comes up quite a bit. So for example, we just had a virtual hangout about body image. Just because that is a topic that comes up a lot, sort of the shifts that come along, hair changes, post-surgical, hormone related changes that come up, and sort of work through that. We're having another session that comes up about PTSD and recurrence. So really looking at that emotional and health perspective from there. We've done lots of mindfulness. We've done series on things like tapping and how that can help with various aspects of mental health. So I know that those themes are weaved into a lot of the educational segments that we've hosted. But it's always good to think about calling them out individually as well.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
I mentioned earlier that the integrative therapies that we offer, specifically yoga and counseling and meditation, are intended to be done one-on-one. But as Erin mentioned, we do have special offerings that fall outside the passport. So for example, we have a yoga provider that might do an 8-week course on yoga and sleep. We partner with Jefferson on mindfulness-based stress reduction, and they offer a course to our members on that. We have a course offered just on breath work. We have a multitude of videos on our library that are, I would say, more bite-sized. For example, fitness. We have 8 to 10 fitness videos that are 15 minutes or less, and they're done within a home with the things that are in a home, meaning you don't have to invest in different equipment. We have videos on EFT tapping and meditation on our library as well. So as we continue to do these educational pieces, you'll see that library grow. And as Erin mentioned, it's kind of woven into everything that we're doing in education.
Yeah. And one thing I neglected to mention, Nina, in sharing the different support groups, earlier this year, we started a plant forward nutrition support group as well. So it's a 6-week nutrition support group. Our registered dietitians lead that. But for those that are really interested in making and sort of working on long-term some of those health upgrades and shifts in their own life, they have that weekly support group as well. So that ran end of January through February. We're going to host that again later this year. So that's something that we heard was of interest to our members as well, for those that really want to focus on that and work through some of those challenges, like dining out. Where do I get my protein? What's all this about fiber? So some of those other things that can feel like challenges, they have a designated time to work through them.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the presentation. My name is Megan Mangesham. I'm representing Wellness House, and just happy to learn from you all today. What a wonderful and amazing resources that you have for folks. Curious about some things. Dr. Ganshaw asked specifically about demographic background, and we are an organization that also offers free services and really working to address inequities in specific communities. And so I'm so curious about kind of your outreach efforts and how your community finds the wonderful resources that you have available.
So I can speak to that. I will say, to start with, it usually starts with one introduction, and then someone learns about our program, and that person says, I have to connect you to this organization. Like, for example, I was connected to Wellness House a couple years ago through Equal Hope in Chicago. And so they have been a fantastic partner. That's how I got connected to most of you as well. And when we state our intentions and the groups that we are prioritizing, that's how this happens. And it just kind of naturally grows. One of our pharmaceutical partners introduced me to a community outreach director at UAB. That individual connected me to at least 4 other nonprofit organizations in and around the Mississippi Delta area, where there just are such limited resources available. And we just start to build. And then once the people in the community get to know our program and the members learn, then they want to share it with their friends and family that have been diagnosed. And in social media, it's been a huge resource for us and source of referrals, because the members of our program get into these groups and they want to share what they have found and what works for them. And then it just grows. And I'll never forget, it was probably 2 years ago in November. I went into our registration page one day, and there were over 200 applications that had come in overnight from Metastatic Facebook group. And that just speaks obviously to the power of social media, which we are very well aware of, all of us, but this is just how our connections grow. And so when a hospital starts to become familiar with us, they say, you know what, we're associated with these other networks. I would love to introduce you to them as well. And then it goes into the nonprofit partners that support the community outside of the hospital also.
Yeah. Wow, it's great to hear. We know too that with all the services that we offer, the nutrition is the gateway, right? Everybody's got to eat. And so not surprised, but yeah, just curious to learn more from you also. Thank you for your presentation today.
Of course.
And we have to talk to our marketing team. 200 new participants overnight. That's amazing.
That really is.
We were quite surprised by that as well.
Is surprise the word that you want to use, Nina?
Yeah.
Is that?
I have one more question. I know we're right at 10:01, so I know people are dropping off. And have you ever allowed for sort of clinical trial access? So this is sort of Debbie and I are chatting in the background, but like we've got some trials that focused on patients in the metastatic setting, and we're having a hard time reaching some of them, and just wondering if have you ever had partnerships where you've helped promote clinical trials?
I will just say briefly, Nina, you can probably get into this more, but I know our founder, Sue, is working consistently on trying to support and get more access to clinical trials for all populations of patients. We totally understand the need. We feel our program can be such a supportive arm for clinical trials to help patients stay in the trial so that they can get the results. So it absolutely is a strong area of interest for our programming. What that looks like, and could be different depending on what a person is looking for, but we absolutely understand the need for clinical trials and are huge supportive arms of that. And I know for us from an education standpoint, we have done several educational segments on clinical trials, clearing up myths about clinical trials, and access to different organizations. I know Touch BBCA has a wonderful program about sharing information about clinical trials in the Black community and how they can find clinical trials that may be appropriate to their patients. We also share in the ovarian space organizations that offer guidance through clinical trials, some that may have nurse navigators to help patients with some of those questions that come along with it. So it is certainly an area that we understand the importance of and are very interested in being a supportive arm in.
And if I can just add to that briefly, you mentioned Touch BBCA. We are working with them specifically on a group of, I believe, metastatic patients entering into a clinical trial and offering our services in conjunction with that, and then doing some measurements and collecting of data to see how they've responded with the help of our supportive services. Unfortunately, the clinical trial that many of them have entered into, they've been dropping out. And so it's not been one that we could, at this point in time, it didn't pan out exactly how we thought it would. But in many of the hospitals that I've been speaking with, this is coming up so much more often. We're doing a lot of grants that we're working on, like with Johns Hopkins and Weill Cornell specifically, in the hopes that that we can present and use this grant funding for things like this so that they can do the recruitment and then we can support through our program. I met with a doctor, I believe, again, it was at UAB, who talked about doing something like getting someone, it wasn't necessarily a clinical trial, but doing a pre and post blood draw on their patients who go into our program and taking a look at what that looks like. And so obviously they would do the recruitment and then we would offer the services in conjunction. And so there's tons of opportunities there, and we are very much forward thinking about those opportunities. So it's always on the topic. It's always in conversation with the hospital partners that we have. And the more outreach that we do, the more grant opportunities and funding that we have, the more that we can support through that also.
Great, thank you. I may connect you by email. I know you and I are on a couple of email chains with a group that's working on a metastatic clinical trial that's trying to recruit. So stay tuned for that. Thank you. This was wonderful.
Yes, this
Thank
is
you.
really wonderful. Lots of comments in the chat about thanks for such great information. We look forward to partnering with you guys and learning more of the ins and outs of your organization, helping our patients better. So thanks, everyone. I know it's after 10. So
Yes, thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Of course, thank you so much. And next week for you guys, we'll have Wellness House present. So next month,
Excellent.
I'll send you the invite. I'll put you guys on our invite list.
Thank you for your time, everyone. Deborah, thank you so much for organizing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.